Are you letting fear and anxiety destroy your dreams? Unfortunately, most people justify living a life filled with worry, guilt, and terror. They make excuses to not even try. Or they try but subconsciously self-sabotage. This leads most people into a comfortable life of escapism. But what if I told you that fear and anxiety are not your enemies, but misunderstood guides that when approached with wisdom can lead you towards the life you've always wanted? This isn't some AI-generated sorcery ripped off from Psychology Weekly. This is the real deal. There's a reason why fear is a pandemic in our society, and the number one ruling emotion of our world, which claims dominion over the lives of countless souls where dreams turn into nightmares. Yet amid this turmoil, common advice you hear is not only ineffective, it's feeding it. Take the common advice, just think positively, as if the dark clouds of anxiety could be dispelled by the mere flick of a wand. This is like telling a drowning man to simply enjoy the water. But fear not, my friends, because in this video I will give you 5 powerful tips to effectively destroy anxiety, plus a bonus key at the end. This bonus insight will not only teach you a healthy way of processing fear, but will also show you how to transform it into strength, unlike the typical advice that only feeds your fears.
So, pal, what's the source of conflict this time?
Are you ready to break free from the shackles of fear and anxiety? Number 1, observe without judgment. Let us not give a name to our fears and disorders. We might indeed make them more than what they are. Instead, observe them, understand their nature, and allow them to pass like leaves on a tranquil stream. Begin by observing your body sensations and feeling without attaching labels or stories to them. Do not judge your body's sensations as good or bad. This is what the mind does. Think about it. How can you possibly feel anxiety? They are abstract concepts created by the mind. Sure, you can feel your heart rate increasing, a tightness in your chest, or perhaps a knot in your stomach, but you can never actually feel anxiety, which is a word created by dark wizards to keep you trapped in your mental prison. Like a wise old tree that simply stands through the seasons, witness your feelings without becoming entangled in them. Seasons happen, and that's okay. This isn't denying it, but neutralizing it. Number 2, experience without resistance. Turn your attention to the physical sensations in your body. Fear often manifests as tension, a clenching perhaps, or a chill. Allow yourself to feel these sensations fully, without resistance. The body is astoundingly intelligent, and every sensation is raw information about something important, often pointing to a deeper unmet need. Like passing by a dark forest during the winter's darkness. Your body may send you a signal, like a knot in the stomach, urging you not to go inside such a dangerous place in the middle of the night, as you hear wolves howling, especially when you have not leveled up enough to handle this situation. Your body is telling you, either level up and bring the right tools, or walk away. The body is wiser than the mind, so respect the sensation and feel it fully. This is the essence of the letting go process.
I'd let the fear in, let it take over, let it do its thing, but only for 5 seconds. That's all I was going to give it. So I started to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it was gone.
Feeling without attaching or reacting. Every emotion wants to run its course. What you resist persists. We will go deeper into shadow work in a future video, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see this. Step 3, mental transmutation. As the wise Hermetics have said, engage in mental transmutation. We live in a dualistic world which includes our inner mind. Every emotion has a counteractive one. So instead of trying to kill the fear, feel it, and then focus on its opposite, courage. I used to be terrified of speaking to anybody, to the point of actual paralyzing social anxiety. When I was a young child, I even wet my pants because of the sheer terror of simply asking the teacher if I could go to the bathroom. As a teenager, every person I walked past in my neighborhood, I was paranoid that they were actually going to stab me. I was always on edge. My voice was snuffed. My fear manifested as physical and mental disorders to the point where it was my default. I saw the world as a cruel place where evil always wins. Mind you, this is a PG version glimpse of the fears I used to live with, but now I can public speak with confidence. I take big risks and inspire others to find their courage. and live a life of freedom. Anxiety isn't even a reality in my world anymore. Even in situations of actual danger, I'm cool, calm, and collected. This doesn't mean I don't feel fear when situations call for it. Of course, I'm human. But suffering from chronic anxiety and worrying about things outside of your control, this is something you can absolutely overcome. Many modern experts will say you can't cure anxiety, only cope with it. This is foolish advice that will only keep you trapped. Once you tap into the state of courage and take action towards completion, you will look back on your fears and worries you once had, and it will seem like a silly fantasy that's even hard to relate with. Number 4, fear exposure. The biggest mistake I made was thinking that being comfortable was a good thing. Even in class, the temperature would have to be just right.
Don't go outside or you'll catch a cold,
was the motto. This was one of the many lies that has contributed to the fragility of our immune system. Fools. This is how fungus breeds, which is by staying in the same temperature range. Exposing yourself to the elements like a freezing cold ice bath or a hot sauna doesn't weaken your immune system, it strengthens it. Remember that Wim Hof was once considered a madman for saying these things. Now, he's in the scientific literature. Now imagine what's considered truth in the psychology world today that's actually fragmenting our minds into more disorders. But I digress. This is the same thing with fear. As above, so below. The longer you stay in your comfort zone, the more fear will amplify and manifest within your personality as being scared, timid, tense, shy, defensive, distrustful, trapped, guilty. Not to mention all the physical manifestations that appear as sickness and ailments. Fear exposure, just like cold exposure therapy, is a powerful tool that dissolves it. And you can do this as quick or as slow as you like. A friend of mine was absolutely terrified of dogs after being viciously attacked as a child. After doing exposure therapy where he would slowly face his fears, eventually his anxiety around dogs would disappear. If you experience social anxiety, a small step would be to ask a stranger for the time, and you do this until you don't feel that fear anymore. And then you take bigger steps, like approaching someone from the opposite sex. And if you want to put your big boy pants on, try public speaking. Your body's sensations may be intense in the beginning, but the more you expose yourself to fear within reason, the intensity of your anxiety will not only dissipate, but will transform into excitement. It's about rewriting your nervous system and inner narrative surrounding your fears. Don't listen to dark wizards like Saruman who uses fear against you. Instead, use the next step. Number 5, take consistent action. Once you have observed and allowed and slowly expose yourself to what you thought was giving you anxiety, it's time to gently shift towards consistent action. Action, my friends, is the ultimate remedy for anxiety. Do something small yet positive that aligns with your true intentions. Do something outside yourself. Make it your lifestyle to do something challenging every day and write down your wins. Actively download the program while uninstalling this virus we call anxiety. It could be as simple as taking a walk or giving somebody a compliment. If you are anxious about a school assignment, inaction only feeds this evil. Instead, take even a small step, such as writing a title or one paragraph. You'll be surprised how much this dissolves anxiety the more action you take. It reminds me of old Bilbo Baggins, who was so afraid of his first adventure that he literally passed out from fear. He was paralyzed with this fear due to being too comfortable in the Shire. Then by the end, you couldn't even keep him inside his hobbit home for too long. He craved the adventure. It became part of his personality, even though it came with risks. This is the bonus key. Take responsibility. This may be the most important key, my friends. At the core, feeling frightened is an evolutionary trait due to survival. The world was a much more physically dangerous place, and fear was a useful tool that helped humans survive from great perils. Unlike other animals who shake off their fears once the dangerous situation has dissipated, humans hold on to them. We make stories out of them. We identify with our fears. So much so that we say dangerously foolish statements like, "I'm anxious," "my anxiety," and the one I heard the other week, "I'm naturally an anxious person." People have this fetish of being a victim instead of taking full responsibility. And no wonder we get a lot of empathy when we wear our anxiety masks. But you all know deep down that this isn't useful. Remember, whatever trauma that has been inflicted upon you isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to deal with it. Situations and events cannot cause you anxiety in and of themselves, but your attachment and narrative surrounding that event is what causes great suffering. I'm sure you can find many examples of people who have experienced true hardship, like Viktor Frankl, who despite their challenges were still fulfilled with meaning. And then there are spoilt brats who have everything yet want to kill themselves. It's not the event, but the story and attachment you give to it. Take responsibility for your own emotions. It will be the most empowering thing you ever do. By the way, if you wish to continue growing your wisdom in this world of foolish advice, hit that like and subscribe button. Much love, and see you soon.